glow in the dark. First scrimmage, a really, really good day for us overall. First off, got out, pretty much healthy. A couple things might have popped up, just soft tissue and some things, but nothing of any significance. So very excited about that. Our guys played hard. It was, scripted to be about 50 to 55 plays for the ones, 50 to 55 plays for the twos, and about 25 plays for the Devo guys. So it was really, really good to get that amount of volume. Actually got a little weather. The good Lord blessed us with some sprinkles, so we got some wet weather work, which was really, really good. I think offensively the ones didn't have Chase do a lot of work today, so the other running backs were in there. Josh looked, he'd missed a little bit of time, do some stomach bug. He looked really good. The guy that popped up out of nowhere today, I should say out of nowhere, he'd done a lot of good things before we got here. Just last spring was limited. Reggie Love had a really, really good day. He came in and had a meeting with me the other day, and I could tell his confidence was trending in the right direction. Chase Hayden made a nice couple explosive runs, so really excited about that running back room, what they can bring. Wide receivers, Isaiah made a big-time catch on the opening series that did some things. I think Isaiah has continued to impress us, just as overall consistency. Casey Washington, Brian Hightower is playing the best football since I've been here. I walked up to him during pre-practice flex, and I said, hey, whatever pajamas you're wearing, whatever breakfast you're eating, keep rolling, because it's definitely trending in the right direction. Tip Ryman had a big-time catch today. Quarterbacks overall, I thought Tommy and Art probably had their best performance. I think Art really did a nice job today, hit some plays and some critical moments. The one thing that Barry and I kind of talked about, we had to take a step back just because Art hadn't really played since that Penn State week, and that's a long time to go without throwing the football in a competitive environment. So I thought that, and actually Ryan Johnson came in and did some things. So excited with the progress there. O-line, Palcho and Pearl on the edges look good. I think between Zai, Jordan, and Isaiah Adams at the guard position, and then Pilstrom has had a good overall fall camp so far. So, and then I would say Josh Kreutz has had continued growth during the course of the summer, and a couple of these freshmen coming in offensively. I think on offense, Hank Beatty at the wide receiver position, Ashton Hollins, Henry Boyer at the tight end position, and I think Aiden Lawfrey is going to help us in some capacity in offense and special teams. Defensively, really like the way they responded. Some things happened today that they have to be mindful of, right? There were some plays that got over our heads, whether they're completed or not. I think we got to make sure that we're understanding the urgency of back-end play up front. I think we're a physical group that likes to put their hands on people. I think Johnny's playing at a high level. Keith continued to be impressive. Calvin Avery and R.J. Wilkinson, and also Vertus Brown. Those three guys, and then we haven't even got T-Raw, who really had his best summer. I was very excited to see him. I think we might get T-Raw back at the end of this week. At linebacker, the way I see it, three inside linebackers between C.J. Hart, Dark Angelo, and Tariq Barnes. Those three guys to give us a pool of three guys to play those two spots. I think I'm really excited where that group is at. I think Seth Coleman has had a really, really good camp, has built himself up. Him and Zeke both have made nice strides. Alec Bryan on the outside edge. Gabe Akis for sure is a true freshman. Jared Beatty unfortunately tweaked his groin a little bit, so he's been out of it here a little bit. And then in the back end, the emergence of Spoon, Taz, Terrell Jennings is a new corner. T. Strain got back out there. He was in concussion protocol, but he was out there today. And then really the three freshman DBs between Xavier Scott, Elijah McCantos, and Ty Rooks. Those three guys have been impressive, and then the guy that's probably led the charge more than any other freshman is Matt Bailey. Matt Bailey was literally running with our ones and twos and looked like he belonged. Just a very impressive kid. We knew it the way we were around him during recruiting. Just a overall demeanor, his intelligence, his football IQ. I don't like to put a lot of pressure on a freshman. I'm not building up anything that's not there, but he's a pretty mature kid that's got a lot of good football in front of him. Ironic how the world works, right? In recruiting, may have been one of our last signees, but I would predict when his time is up, there's probably going to be 32 teams that are going to ask a lot of questions about him in the end. So I'm really excited about him.
What switches for Brian to kind of get this camp out of him?
Brian Hightower?
Yeah.
I would go back to last winter. Like when he came back in January, I just kind of sensed a different Brian. And I think the change of offense really catered to what he saw as a breath of fresh air. I think him and Gio have really built a good relationship on what they want, what they expect. We all know he's a long, athletic guy that obviously was a highly recruited guy before I ever came along. I think he's leaned up a little bit. To me, he's become a little twitchier, and he's really caught the ball well.
What things are you trying to take away from a scrimmage?
Well, first and foremost, we kind of built this scrimmage. This is the first of two, right? So this one started off first down, then we played first down, play second down, then we played third down. We took a little bit of break at halftime, and then we came in and did a move the ball where they were literally, Ryan and Barry were calling a script as it happened. We had officials out there, so they were literally moving the calls as the balls were being advanced. So just the game feel of it was really, really good. Obviously, we'd love to come out of it healthy. And then really, we're not really game planning per se. We will get into game planning. We've already done prep on Wyoming and Indiana. We'll get a little bit more specific as we get closer. But this week I called it personnel planning. We really got to find out who our roster is, who do we see and project, and then that kind of carries it over.
Isaiah mentioned that your last two camp practices were sort of like what you do on a Thursday and a Friday on the game week, and this was maybe the simulation of the game. What do you like about maybe doing that now?
Yeah. Well, I think the more you can train players to follow routines, right? Like we play normally on Saturdays, but this year we have a Thursday and a Friday game. And it really goes back to, unfortunately, we haven't been able to go to one yet, but bowl preparation. Even when all the bowl games I've ever played, you want that culmination to that day to be like it's a Saturday game day, because our kids understand the work week. Like a normal work week, we come in and put the game to rest on Sunday, have a little introduction to our opponent. Monday we have off. Tuesday is early downs, a little bit of introduction in situational football. Wednesday is third downs red area. Wednesday is third down red area, and Thursdays is kind of just everything kind of come together into the flow of a game, special teams, offense, defense. And then Friday we have a day of walk, and then Saturday we play. So because I knew we were scrimmaging on a Monday, if you just go backwards, Sunday was like a Friday. We had a day off yesterday. We met with them for 2 hours, did some walkthroughs, but we wanted to have them have time. Saturday and Friday were like a Tuesday and Wednesday. Saturday was like a Thursday, and then Friday and Thursday were like a Tuesday, Wednesday. And actually the first guy to catch on to that was Luke Ford, because I said Saturday night's lift was a Saturday, even though it was a Saturday, it was a Thursday night lift. And Luke caught on to that on Thursday, and he said, well, that means Friday is a Wednesday and today's a Tuesday. I said, absolutely, Luke. So we're making baby steps, but that's how it just makes them understand the week a little bit better.
And everything you said about the secondary today in the scrimmage, is it as simple as maybe just plug and sit back in there?
I wouldn't be overly concerned. I'm just saying that like sometimes it's good to, all of us had to touch the hot stove first. We had to fall off our bikes, and as we kind of go this thing, I think we have to experience a little adversity, I said this the other day, Tommy. We had a scenario the other day where we had a wide open receiver and didn't hit it. I would much rather learn that moment in practice than I would in a game situation.
Is it positive about being able to hold sit back a little bit? Just you get a Matthew Bailey to emerge, and you get some other guys to be able to show you what they can do.
Yeah, Sid actually passed all the things today, so I think we'll get him back sooner than later. But for sure, Matt Bailey and other guys, we've been able to move some guys around, and it also really stresses, I think, Kendall and Quan. That without Sydney in there, they got to step up a little bit. And Matt Bailey made a day on a toss sweep that was pretty special.
What's typical of a first scrimmage? Is the defense ahead of the offense, or the other way around? Or
I think everybody always says the defense is ahead, but I don't think that was the case today. I'd say it was, especially move the ball segments, maybe some critical moments. Tip Ryman had a nice catch today in the red area that I think really kind of captivates what I think he can do in a passing game. There was a lot of positives, some good things in the kicking game. So. I haven't got a chance to watch the film, but I was just processing it as we saw it.
Were you tackling to the ground today? And how would you say the
we didn't have a lot of missed tackles. I thought our running backs ran hard, so we had some drive-through. Now we don't allow low blocks or cut tackles, and these, so we play Illinois versus Illinois. So I don't let the Illinois cut block and the offense cut block, and I don't let the defense cut tackle. Which some of these big boys. Come rolling at you, you got Luke Ford or Tip Ryman coming on a flat against a corner. It's kind of hard for them not to go low, but that's what we ask them to do to stay a little bit injury prevention.
Coach, you've emphasized since you got here, recruiting the states.
Yeah.
How important was take that more internally, recruiting in the area?
Yeah.
You've got some guys,
Yeah.
guys, you guys. How important is that to you, even more so than beyond the state thing?
Yeah, I think it's one thing to recruit them, but they got to be good players, right?
Okay,
and I think. You look at Danville and Caleb and JP were here before me, but I think Julian Pearl is set to become something bigger than what he's known, right? Yeah. The only person holding JP back is Julian Pearl, right? And Caleb hit some really nice kicks today. I think kicking is always a little bit hard to get in a routine. He's got a new coach. It's in his ear, and we're trying to stress him. And I thought there's a lot of positives. But a kid that was incredible again today. You look at a guy, Hank Beatty, who literally, I think if he wasn't one of my first offers, he was near the top, and wasn't necessarily a first commit, but I kind of knew where that was going. And the way his high school coaches talked about him, and the way his competitors talked about him, and these small-time kids, sometimes they come in and it gets big on them because they haven't been in that environment. Hank Beatty's just out there playing football. Like, you could put him out there with the Bears, with us, go back to Rochester. He's going to do the same thing every day just because he loves the game and that's how he plays.
How about Bryce Barnes?
Bryce is, probably, in my opinion, been one of the most dynamic changes since the spring. He had a big spring in the winter when he got a lot bigger, but then in the spring he lightened up a little bit. He's about 285 now, looks really good. Unfortunately, our prayers are with him. He's actually, hustling out of here tomorrow to one of his grandparents passed, so he's been kind of dealing with that. And just his maturity, he came in. I said, "Listen, Bryce, the only thing that's important is you, and what you got to do." And he just handles that moment so much. I mean, he was very emotional, very taken back, but I think it just shows the maturity that young man has.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah.
UCLA, USC, going to be in Big Ten in 2 years.
Yeah.
How does it change how you recruit California?
Bob, it's probably, I think that the initial wave of there's going to be that natural open door, like everybody's going to say. And I know one of the first conversations I had with Howard and Josh, we have one of the largest living alumni bases in California. And, Andy Boo is the only coach that I have that really has kind of had an extensive amount of experience out there on the West Coast. Now, Ryan, has coached out there and recruited out there. Other coaches have been in the hodgepodge. I think because of the ability to have two teams out there, and who knows where it's going to end in the next 2 years, I think it's definitely something we'll explore into. Now, the only thing is, our 23 class is we're going to ebb and flow, right? Had some great news on Saturday, right? There's going to be a little bit of give and take as this thing unfolds. But our class for 23 is pretty full. The rest will probably be out of the portal world. Not saying we won't, but I mean, it's to say you're going to get 10 more guys in this class is not real. But I could see 3 or 4, especially if there's subtraction.
And George is from there.
Yeah, Gio has, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry, yeah, Gio.
You don't want to answer the question. You said ask Gio.
No, yeah, Gio does a great job for us. I think that in recruiting, it's been my experience, you have coaches that are ambidextrous, right? They can literally go everywhere and anywhere, and Gio is kind of one of those guys. I got him in Florida now, having in Indianapolis, but also if we have a player that we feel he's going to fit in well in that environment, I'm not afraid to send him to Jersey or Chicago. Gio's just kind of one of those guys. Yeah, and absolutely, Gio's from the West Coast, so that definitely makes sense.
We were talking with Johnny Newton, and he had some good things to say about Calvin Avery. Especially his stamina and his ability to go a full series. Have you seen that from him?
I have. I've been excited about Calvin, and I've been trying to, and he's been battling through some. He was one of the other guys that had a little stomach bug, so he I think has been going through it. He looks as good as he's looked since I've been here. He's really done a great job of controlling. And I'm excited about Calvin because I've known Calvin for a long time. I remember him in high school. I remember the ability that he had. I could see it when we came here. He's a very, very dynamic, powerful, explosive player from gap to gap, and I hope he really puts himself in a position to have a great year because it helps everybody.
I have a two-part question
Yeah.
about your return philosophy. How do you balance the risk of injury with guys like Isaiah and Sean and Josh versus just fair catching it and going? And when do you know when to be aggressive on some of those returns versus just getting the offense out?
Well, so great question, and then it's probably twofold, right? So punt return is a little bit different animal, right? Because punt return, you don't have the automatic yardage marks and all that stuff. Or kickoff return, there's a game element to it because, one of the few times in my coaching career to have every coach say that they would take the ball on a 25-yard line, offense and defense, when they change that rule, right? That's a huge factor in it. So now you got a green light if you want to, return the ball because you can spot the ball on 25-yard line offensively wherever you want it, and defensively, if we can put that ball back and they know that they're going to start on 25, not 35, most defensive coordinators would take that spot. But I think last year, kick return wise, really didn't feel great about our return scheme. I think Sean and his background, his experiences, and the people that we have in our program now is changed the way we'll look at kickoff return. And in punt return, for sure, Isaiah back there, but also, Cody Case is a pretty dynamic vertical guy. Hank Beatty, actually, even though he didn't return punts at Rochester, has been pretty special coming out of the gate. Taz Nicholson, Ashton Hollins, Pat Bryant. We got some guys vertically in the kickoff return game. So I'm excited to see where that can go. To your point about injury, that really, I don't let that, you can get hurt on any play, right? I get the question, right? I actually get more worried about in kickoff return and punt return the guys that are blocking because they get rolled up from behind.
Have you changed maybe how you schedule or structure a training camp during your career as a coach?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, there's
What's the big change?
well for us, we get X number of practices before Wyoming. Of those practices, only a certain amount can be scrimmages. Only a certain amount. There's only 8 padded days before we play Wyoming. 8, right? And so there's literally never one point during the course of training camp where we play 2 back-to-back padded full padded days, which is absolutely crazy. I used to my first year, and I don't know how many years it lasted, 5-6 years. We would practice in the morning in full pads, and then I would usually try to go to half pads in the afternoon, but it was an option. And so if a guy didn't do what I thought he was supposed to be doing, I would put him in full pads for the second practice as well. Didn't make me very popular, but we went 12-1, right? So I think the thing that you have to do is be able to adjust to the rules. And I think our guys, they like the fluidity that we do, but also I'm very, very proactive in explaining why we do certain things. I literally canceled meetings on them this afternoon. I knew I was going to do it a week ago, but I didn't tell them till today because really wanted to maximize. We got off field at 1 o'clock. I didn't want to turn around and meet at 4 and not have all of our coaches watch all the film, grade it, and meet. So we're not going to bring them over till 6:30 tonight is our first meeting. So I gave them 2.5 hours of free time. You would have thought I gave them a new car. Like they were all excited. So I think proactively to do that is good measure.
On
You
the structure
start
of today,
Last one for Coach B here.
on the structure of today, how much did you do full field? How much did you do red zone?
First half was a controlled, but it was out in the field. So we went 1st and 10. We moved the ball 10 yards. So it was like P and 10 from the 30, 40, 50, minus plus 40. We did 12 plays of that. Then we did a first down play, second down out in the field. Then we did a third down out in the field, and then did some kicking. Then we came back and we did move the ball, which ended up down in the red area. And then we did the last half inside the 35. So we really did everything. I think in this first scrimmage, you try to, touch bases on every aspect of the field, and then next Monday will be a little bit more game real situation. We went full headsets today, offensive, defensive coaches, just because I think defense I wasn't overly worried about offense, but because of the tempo, right, the factor, there's a lot of things going into it.